You've been told that attraction is obvious. If she laughs, she likes you. If she touches her hair, she's interested. If she leans in, you've already won. But let me tell you a truth most men never hear. Real desire is never loud. It does not scream. It does not announce itself in neon signs. It hides. It hides in the first 3 seconds of her greeting, the way her eyes pause before her lips move, the way her voice rises just a little, or the way her hug either lingers or doesn't. Those 3 seconds are not small talk. They are a verdict. And most men, blindly polite, endlessly hopeful, never see it. Machiavelli once warned, "Power lies not in what is declared, but in what is concealed." Miss the hidden signal, and you will forever chase comfort while someone else takes her desire. So, let me paint you a picture. Daniel, 32, was what you'd call reliable, steady job, kind face. The kind of man who holds doors open and always remembers to ask how your day went. At his office gym, he noticed a woman, let's call her Claire. Every morning he would greet her warmly, a polite smile, a question about her workout. She always responded with kindness, quick, predictable, safe. Daniel thought, this is attraction. She's friendly, she's comfortable, I'm making progress. But then came the Friday evening mixer. The lights were low, music humming faintly in the background. People clustered in groups, holding drinks and laughing too loudly at jokes that weren't that funny. Claire walked in black dress, minimal makeup, hair tied back loosely. She scanned the room, and when she saw Daniel, her smile snapped into place immediately. Bright, wide, a performance rehearsed 1,000 times in the mirror. She walked over, exchanged a few words, and moved past him like a polite breeze. It didn't hurt, not at first. He told himself, she's just busy, she's just tired. But later that night, Daniel saw something he could never unsee. She spotted another man across the room. This time her eyes stopped, not for long, just for half a second. And then came a smile, not quick, not rehearsed. A slow bloom, like a secret she didn't mean to share. Her body leaned in, her laugh broke free. Her hand brushed his arm just a touch longer than necessary. Daniel stood there, drink in hand, watching the same woman greet 2 men, one with speed, one with pause. In that instant, he understood what months of polite effort had hidden from him. He wasn't the spark, he was the safety net. And here's the cruel reality. Weeks of effort cannot override 3 seconds of truth. Daniel thought consistency would build attraction. She thought consistency was comfort, but comfort is the enemy of desire. Now let me ask you something. When was the last time you saw a woman smile at you politely, then smile at someone else slowly, as though she was letting him in on a secret? Do you remember how it felt in your stomach? That quiet punch of truth you couldn't explain? That moment is not an accident. It is her subconscious announcing the role she has already given you: friend, desire, or forgettable background. The greeting is never just a hello. It's the mask slipping before she covers it again with social courtesy. Here's where most men fail. They cling to the polite smile. They hold on to the friendly hug. They convince themselves that safe equals progress. But in truth, they've already lost. Because attraction isn't about words. It isn't about the dozens of polite interactions. It is about the moment she sees you, the first 3 seconds, before her brain has time to cover the truth. Machiavelli would remind us, the body confesses before the mind can censor. If her smile is instant, polished, and wide, she's giving you courtesy. If her smile is slow, delayed, as though something inside her lit up before her lips joined in, she's giving you desire. And here is the first shift you must make. Stop rushing to prove warmth. Stop throwing yourself forward with a quick hello. Stand still. Let her energy land first, and only then respond with calm, with patience, with control. Do this once, and you'll notice something unsettling. People lean in when they cannot read you. She will lean in not because she suddenly respects you, but because she cannot predict you. And unpredictability is the soil where attraction grows. So, let me leave you with this first rule. The greeting is not politeness. The greeting is prophecy. Miss it, and you remain invisible. See it, and you gain the power to decide whether to step forward or step away. The delayed smile. You've seen it before, though maybe you didn't recognize it. A smile that comes instantly fast, polite, bright. It feels good. It feels safe. It feels like approval. But here's the truth. Instant smiles are currency. She gives them to strangers, coworkers, baristas, neighbors. They are free. They cost her nothing. The smile that matters is different. It does not rush. It does not arrive before the eyes do. It hesitates, just for a heartbeat. And then, like a secret escaping the mask, it spreads slowly, starting from her eyes before her lips obey. That pause, that delay, that is desire unfiltered. Take Ethan, 34, a physical therapist from Phoenix. He met Maya through a mutual friend. They hit it off well enough, so they decided to grab coffee one evening. Ethan showed up early, sitting by the window, scrolling his phone to look busy. When Maya walked in, she spotted him instantly. Her smile appeared fast, too fast, bright, friendly, efficient. She leaned in for a side hug, her hand tapping his shoulder lightly before pulling back quickly. It looked good, it looked fine, but it was also rehearsed. They ordered drinks, chatted about patients, hobbies, music. Ethan thought things were going well until 10 minutes later. A coworker of hers happened to walk past, and that's when Ethan noticed it. Maya's eyes landed first. They lingered, just for a fraction of a second longer than necessary. And then came the smile, slow, warm, unhurried. It wasn't the smile she gave him. It was a smile that seemed to hide a secret, as though it belonged only to the man standing in front of her. When she laughed, her hand brushed his arm and stayed there just a little longer than polite. Ethan didn't want to see it. His brain tried to explain it away. She's tired. She's just being friendly. I'm overthinking this, but his body knew. The verdict had already been delivered. It happened at hello. Here's the cruel paradox. Ethan believed effort creates attraction. He believed showing up early, being kind, being attentive would win her over. But Maya didn't see effort as attraction. She saw effort as safety, and safety never fuels obsession. Because desire is not about logic, it's about timing, and timing hides in the first smile. Think about your own life for a moment. Have you ever chased after a woman who always greeted you with enthusiasm, with quick laughter, with cheerful smiles, only to feel that something was missing? And then you noticed how her smile to someone else looked different, slower, heavier, as if it carried meaning. That's the delayed smile. That's the one that matters, because the truth is simple. Courtesy smiles to the room. Desire pauses for you. Marcus, 36, learned this lesson the hard way. He was meeting Lena, a woman he'd been chatting with, at a Saturday street market by Lady Bird Lake in Austin. He got there early, bought iced coffee, and rehearsed casual lines in his head. When Lena arrived, she was radiant in a blue sundress, sunglasses perched on her face, phone in her hand. She spotted Marcus. Her lips lifted instantly, bright, pleasant, complete, but too quick. She stepped in for a polite hello, pulled back fast, and they started walking through the stalls. They chatted about music, tried fresh peaches, wandered from vendor to vendor. It all felt fine, but it was flat. 15 minutes later, everything changed. A vendor called out to someone behind them. Lena turned. Her sunglasses came off. Her eyes landed first, and then came the smile, not rushed, not polite, slow, warm, a glow that started in her gaze before it reached her lips. She leaned in a little, shoulders softened. When she laughed, it wasn't louder, it was deeper. Marcus stood there, holding his iced coffee, realizing in real time that he was watching two different versions of her. One for him, one for someone else. The quick smile she gave him, that was politeness. The delayed smile she gave the other man, that was desire. He thought giving certainty early would make her feel relaxed. She treated certainty as closure, because when attraction is real, it doesn't rush. Here's the Machiavellian truth. Desire reveals itself in the gap between recognition and display. The face obeys social rules, the eyes obey truth. When she greets you with an instant smile, she's being polite. She's closing the box quickly. When her eyes land first, when they linger, even for half a second, and only then do the lips follow. That is her subconscious telling you, this matters. That pause is not small. That pause is everything. So, what should you do when you see it? Do nothing. At least not immediately. Because here's where most men fail. They chase the pause. They lunge for it. They think, yes, this is my chance, let me jump in, let me confirm it, let me grab hold of it before it disappears. But the power of the delayed smile is not in claiming it, it's in mirroring it. Here's how. When her eyes land and her smile blooms slowly, Let your own smile arrive just as slowly. Do not rush. Do not overperform. Let your calm reflect hers. If her smile is instant and bright, respond with calm conversation, not over-eager energy. Create space. Reset the pace. If her smile is delayed and warm, respond with a steady gaze, a slower voice, and a presence that says, "I see it. I don't need to chase it." That's how you turn the pause into gravity. Because mystery, not predictability, is what makes her lean in again. Most men think quick smiles mean they're winning, but the truth? Quick smiles are safety nets. She uses them to stay polite, to keep things light, to maintain control. The smile that waits a heartbeat longer, that's the signal. That's the difference. And once you learn to read it, you'll never confuse courtesy with chemistry again. So, here's your action tonight. When you meet her, slow down, breathe. When her eyes meet yours, don't rush to speak. When her smile arrives, let yours follow one beat later. And if there is no pause, accept it. Step back, reset the frame. Because the man who reads the pause without needing to name it becomes the man she cannot easily predict. And unpredictability is where desire lives. The lean-in hug. A smile may whisper secrets, but a hug shouts them if you know how to listen. Most men think hugs are meaningless, a polite gesture, a formality, like a handshake that lasts longer. But here's the truth. Her hug is never neutral. It is her body speaking before her mind can edit. The question is, do you know what it's saying? A hug that ends quickly, shoulder to shoulder, a polite squeeze, and release, signals formality. It says, "We are safe, we are friendly, but that is all." A hug that leans in and lingers, that is confession, that is risk. That is her body gambling on closeness before her words will. And if you learn to feel the difference, you'll never mistake formality for desire again. Ethan, a 32-year-old software analyst in Chicago, made this discovery by accident. For months, he had been spending time with Maya, a coworker who joined their weekend hikes. He liked her. She laughed at his jokes. She responded to his texts. She seemed present, friendly, open. The first time she greeted him with a hug, it was quick, shoulder to shoulder, a brief tap on the back, efficient, ordinary. Ethan filed it away as, "This is just who she is." But one late Friday, after work, their group met at a small diner. The mood was lighter, looser. When Maya walked in, she hugged Ethan again. But this time, something shifted. She leaned in, pressed closer. Her hands stayed a moment longer on his back. And when he loosened his arms, she didn't let go immediately. There was a pause, a deliberate, unspoken hesitation. When she finally pulled back, her eyes met his for a fraction longer than usual. And in that silence, in that tiny delay, Ethan felt something he could not explain away. That hug wasn't efficiency. It was a crack in the mask. Her body confessed what her mouth would not risk. Here's the truth most men never see. A lean-in hug is not an accident. It's a test, a risk, a gamble of closeness. The question is not just how long it lasts, it's who moves in first, who controls the frame, and who lets go last. Those three moments tell the whole story. Machiavelli would remind us, the body writes contracts the mind denies. A hug is one of those contracts. When she leans in, she is making a wager that you will meet her halfway without fumbling. When she lingers, she is testing whether you will panic, cling, or remain calm in closeness. And when she delays letting go, she is revealing possession, a claim made silently, like a chess player hovering over a piece before releasing it. But here's where men ruin it. Most men think, if she hugs me warmly, I should hug her tighter, hold her longer, prove I'm equally invested. But that kills the frame, because desire doesn't grow in predictability. It grows in mystery. The power is not in giving more. The power is in holding steady. So, what's the move? When she leans in, match her pressure, not her speed. Hold for one calm breath, then release first. Yes, release first. Why? Because it forces her body to wonder. It flips the script. Instead of you chasing closeness, you are creating space. And space is where tension lives. Think of it like music. A song isn't powerful because of endless sound. It's powerful because of the pauses, the silence that builds anticipation. Desire works the same way. It isn't in endless presence. It's in the controlled absence. The man who always holds on too long, who always gives more warmth than her, becomes predictable. Predictable becomes ordinary. Ordinary never becomes obsession. But the man who lets go first, calmly, without panic, becomes unreadable. Unreadable becomes magnetic. Magnetic becomes unforgettable. Here's the Machiavellian paradox. She leans in because she feels something, but she also leans in to test whether you'll collapse into her warmth. If you do, if you cling, if you hold longer than she does, you confirm safety. If you don't, if you release first, steady, calm, you create tension. And tension is the soil where attraction grows. Let's return to Ethan. That night at the diner, he felt the difference in Maya's hug. He wasn't sure what to do, but he didn't overthink it. He held for one calm breath, then released before she did. For a split second, her hands lingered. She looked at him. Something shifted. It wasn't fireworks. It wasn't a confession, but it was a new gravity, one he had never felt with her before. Later he realized, the hug wasn't about contact, it was about control. He thought loyalty meant patience. She treated patience as a test. He thought giving more warmth would make her feel closer. She experienced extra warmth as predictability, but when he pulled away first, she leaned back in, emotionally, if not physically. Because now, she could not predict him. Here's what most men miss. A hug is not just touch, it is a script that reveals who leaned in first, desire versus courtesy, how long it lingered, risk versus safety, who let go first, control versus surrender. Learn to read this, and you'll never mistake formality for desire again. So, here's your action. The next time she greets you with a hug, don't rush in first. Let her move toward you. When she leans in, meet her halfway. Match her pressure, hold for one calm breath. Then, release before she does, not with panic, not with coldness, with calm. And watch what happens, because the mystery of your release will plant a question in her mind she cannot easily shake. Why did he let go first? And that question will do more for attraction than any line, any compliment, or any gift ever could. The eye, lip, eye glance. There are signals she hopes you'll miss. Smiles, hugs, playful words, those she can excuse, explain, deny. But then, there is the signal she never plans, the one her body betrays before her mind can censor. It happens in less than a second, almost invisible, yet once you see it, you'll never forget it. The eyes drop to the lips, then return. That's it. That's the whole signal. But hidden inside that flicker is the most dangerous truth of attraction. Anthony, 35, a consultant in Boston, had been out with Rachel a few times. Dinners, small talk, laughter, nothing extraordinary, but steady. One spring evening, they walked back to the parking garage. Rain had just passed, and the city lights shimmered on wet pavement. As they stopped mid-conversation to let a group pass, Anthony looked at Rachel. Her gaze held his, steady, calm, and then it happened. Her eyes dipped, just once, to his lips, then immediately returned to his. The whole thing lasted less than a second, but Anthony felt it like a shock to the chest. Rachel smiled quickly after, asked him about his weekend plans, and kept talking as though nothing had happened. But Anthony wasn't listening anymore. That single glance had told him more than every word she'd spoken all night. Because the truth is simple, her body had already decided. Here's what most men don't realize. When a woman's eyes drop to your lips, it's not random, it's not distraction, it's a rehearsal, a silent confession. Her body is preparing for intimacy, even if her mind isn't ready to admit it. And that glance, that is desire escaping the mask. Machiavelli would say, the most dangerous truths are never spoken. They are revealed in slips. This is one of those slips. The eye-lip-eye glance is not polite attention. It is not casual interest. It is the body showing its hand too early, like a chess player revealing the move before making it. And if you miss it, you'll keep mistaking safety for attraction. But here's the trap. Most men, when they catch this glance, panic. They pounce. They say things like, "Did you just check out my lips?" Or they rush forward, trying to claim the intimacy too quickly. And the magic dies, because the eye-lip-eye is not an invitation to call it out. It is an invitation to hold tension. So, what should you do? Here's the map. 1. Do not name it. The moment you speak it aloud, the spell breaks. 2. Slow your pace, lower your voice, steady your breathing. 3. Hold her gaze half a beat longer than usual, not in a stare, but in calm presence. This does not claim the signal, it mirrors it. And mirroring creates gravity. Think of it this way. The glance is a test, not a conscious test, but a subconscious one. She is asking, without words, can he hold this moment without breaking it? If you rush, if you lunge, if you narrate, you fail. If you hold steady, calm, unreadable, you win. Because now she knows, her attraction does not make you lose control, and control, in her subconscious, is equal to power. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Signals rarely come alone. A delayed smile, a lean-in hug, an eye-lip-eye glance. Individually, they might be dismissed. Together, they form a pattern, and patterns are impossible to deny. Liam, 29, a warehouse supervisor in Denver, learned this the hard way. He met Ava through friends. Their first few weeks were promising. He caught the delayed smile outside a taco truck one night, warm and lingering. He felt the lean-in hug after a bowling night, steady and close. He even caught the eye-lip-eye flicker as they walked to his car after a late movie. Everything was aligning. 3 green lights. But then Liam made the mistake most men make. He tried to claim the signals. "You just checked out my lips. That's cute," he said one night. Ava laughed, stepped back, and the air cooled instantly. The next date, Liam pulled her into a hug and held too long, trying to replicate the feeling he'd lost. But the hug turned stiff. Later, he sent long texts explaining how serious he was. Her replies slowed from minutes to hours, and the next time they met, her smile was instant. Her hug was quick, her eyes slid away. The signals had vanished, not because they were never real, but because Liam smothered them with need. Here's the law of hidden power. What is confessed in silence must be answered in silence. A mask drops for 1 second. The right move is not to shout that you saw it. The right move is to keep your frame steady. So, she wonders if you did. That's how attraction grows. Not in naming the moment, but in mirroring it. So, here's the practical guide. When the smile is delayed, let yours arrive a beat later. When the hug lingers, match pressure for 1 breath, then release first. When the eyes drop to your lips, lower your voice, slow your words, and hold the silence. Do not rush, do not narrate, do not prove, because the moment you try to prove it, you lose it. And here's the paradox that will haunt you if you don't learn this. He thought naming the moment created intimacy. She heard it as need. He thought giving more warmth created closeness. She experienced it as predictability. He thought certainty was comfort. She filed certainty under finished. And finished never turns into obsession. So, I'll ask you this. What boundary will you set in the first 3 seconds of a greeting that she cannot cross without earning it? Think about it, because your answer will decide whether you remain a background character in her story or the author of your own. The final frame. What you've learned so far may feel unsettling, because it means that everything you thought attraction was built on, endless effort, constant attention, polite consistency, was never the foundation. The truth is sharper. Attraction is decided in silence, in pauses, in delays, in gestures too small for words. You now know that. Quick smiles are safety. They belong to everyone. Delayed smiles are desire. They belong only to the man she can't ignore. Quick hugs are formality. Leaning hugs are confession. Steady eye contact is comfort. The eye-lip-eye glance is intimacy rehearsed before she dares admit it. These are not games. They are truths her body cannot hide, no matter how much her mind tries to cover them. But here's the danger. Most men, when they learn this, try to exploit it. They rush to name the signals. They try to force the moment. They perform instead of hold steady. And the frame collapses. Because the true art here is not in spotting signals, it's in what you do after. Michael, 31, an engineer from Dallas, once wrote in after watching one of these lessons. He admitted he used to flood women with texts. He laughed too quickly, jumped into hugs too eagerly, grinned at every instant smile as though it was victory, and he always ended up the same, background noise. Nice, safe, predictable, but then he made one shift. He stopped rushing, he stopped explaining, he stopped chasing. Instead, he began to wait. He let her smile arrive first. He let her hug linger before he released. He stayed silent when her eyes dropped to his lips, lowering his voice instead of pointing it out. Within a month, the same woman who once treated him like wallpaper began reaching out first. She tested his attention. She admitted she couldn't stop thinking about him, and Michael's words were simple. The less I did, the more she leaned in. I finally understood that mystery is respect. This is the final paradox of attraction. The man who begs to be chosen never is. The man who waits to be read becomes unforgettable, because desire does not rise from certainty. It rises from curiosity. And curiosity is born in silence, in mystery, in the 3 seconds where her body speaks before her words arrive. So, let's gather everything into one final frame. The protocol of the first 3 seconds. 1. Do not greet first with excess warmth. Stand still. Let her energy land before you move. 2. Watch her smile. If it is instant, bright, and wide, it is courtesy. If it lingers, delayed, blooming slowly, it is desire. 3. Read her hug. If it ends quickly, it is formality. If it leans in and lingers, it is confession. 4. Catch the glance. If her eyes drop to your lips in return, do not name it. Lower your voice. Slow your words. Let the silence breathe. 5. Mirror, don't chase. When she gives space, hold it. When she offers warmth, match it calmly. When she leans in, release before she does. Because the man who holds the frame is never predictable, and unpredictability is power. Now, let's ask the most important question. Why does all of this matter? Because for most men, life is filled with wasted effort. Weeks, months, years spent chasing smiles that mean nothing. Texting endlessly into silence, convincing themselves that patience will turn safety into desire, but it never does. Because attraction is not earned by effort. It is revealed in silence. It is judged before you even speak. So, here's the choice you face right now. You can keep mistaking polite gestures for passion, chasing quick smiles and brief hugs that lead nowhere, or you can step into the quiet power of the first 3 seconds. Learn to see what others miss. Learn to wait, to pause, to hold your frame when her mask slips. And when you do, you'll find something remarkable. You no longer need to chase attraction. It will lean toward you. Machiavelli wrote that control is not in words, but in perception. The way she greets you is not a coincidence. It is her subconscious declaring who you are to her, friend, desire, or background. And the man who understands this doesn't beg for power. He already has it. So the next time you walk into a room, remember this. Don't rush forward. Don't flood her with certainty. Don't confuse safety with spark. Stand still. Hold your frame. Read the pause. Because in those 3 seconds, before her brain can cover it, before her words can disguise it, her truth is already written. And if you can see it, if you can feel it, if you can stay calm in it, you won't just greet her. You will rewrite the story.